I'm delighted to be talking to the BAC's President, Dr. Simon Chard, today in the first of our series of speaker interviews in the run-up to the British Dental Conference and Dentistry Show in May this year. Simon will be speaking about the future of dentistry in the BACD Aesthetic and Digital Dentist Theatre on Saturday, the 13th of May at 10:30. Simon, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So you've recently become the BACD's youngest ever president. Can you tell us how you feel about taking on that responsibility and what plans you have for your presidency?
Yeah, sure. So becoming the president of the BACD has been a long-term goal of mine. I became a student member when I was in my fourth year at dental school, and I've gradually made my way up through the ranks, onto committees, onto various director positions on different parts of the academy, and I've been qualified now for 10 years this year, and it's been a constant sort of guiding thread through my career, having the academy there to support me, both with regards to mentors, education, opportunities for different associate positions in high-end clinics when I was just out of my vocational training, opportunities for lecturing. It's really broadened my horizons, and it's been a crucial part of what's made my career so successful to date, and it's what's made me sort of enjoy my career to the maximum potential that I feel I could do. And so for me, now becoming the president of the BACD, the main thing that I want to do is continue the great work the BACD's been doing over its 10 years since it was formed. We're coming up to the 20th anniversary next year, and there's never been a more important time for the BACD to be around, with the onset of and the sort of prevalence of social media information being passed on to consumers, whether that be great information such as the stuff put out by the BACD or by BACD members, but also the sort of less positive information passed from non-clinicians to non-clinicians, tooth whitening hacks and turkey teeth and all these sort of mixed messages that the general population's being passed. There's never been a more important time for the key message of the BACD, which is ethical cosmetic dentistry, to be delivered to both customers, consumers, patients, as well as to the profession and the next generation of the profession as well, because they're coming out into this TikTok, Instagram environment, and they need guidance from more experienced clinicians to help them to negotiate what is quite a complicated environment at the moment. So I think it's an amazing time to be a dentist. It's a really exciting time where technology is advancing rapidly, techniques are advancing rapidly, and that's only going to mean better quality of care for our patients. But you need an academy such as the BACD, which is supportive and has the right ethical and moral compass to help that next generation of dentists to really excel and to continue to make British dentistry some of the best in the world.
So you spoke a little bit about the next generation of dentists there, and you've obviously had a big impact on the dental industry in the past few years, and you were recently named Dentistry Magazine's Person of the Year for 2022. So what advice would you give to young dentists looking to make a difference in the industry today?
Well, I think first of all, we'll come at it from a position of passion. I think one of the reasons why I've experienced a lot of success in my career is that I've been very passionate about what I've done. I've done the hard work. I've done the time shadowing other experienced clinicians, doing the correct level of training with wet-fingered, experienced clinicians that I've handpicked to some of the best individuals in the world, finding great mentors, and creating a very solid support structure around myself that's allowed me to develop at a rapid rate. But none of that happens without putting in the time. And I think it's really important for dentists coming out of university now, obviously with all the things that happened with regards to COVID, they didn't get a lot of hands-on experience. And that was a trend even before the pandemic. And so I think it's really important that they actually get their clinical skills up to a decent standard first, before starting to move into the more glamorous and more advanced treatment modalities. Because if they try and rush into those, and that's very alluring because of Instagram and social media, and they see all these beautiful cases thrown at them all the time on social media, people sort of highlight reels of their best cases, that can be quite demoralizing, number one, because their clinical work won't be to that standard when they first qualified, nor was mine, nor was anyone's. You have to put in those hours to get to that level. But at the same time, they might want to try and rush to get to that level because they think it's glamorous and they think it's exciting. And that's normal, but I think it's just really important to build your clinical career from a solid foundation of the key principles of dentistry. And that means lots of postgraduate education. That means finding a good mentor and a good team in a good practice. And the BACD is fantastic for helping with all those things.
And one thing you just mentioned there was TikTok and social media. So you've obviously created a really strong image for yourself in the dental community, and some of that does stem from your social media presence. But I know that mental health in dentistry is another cause that you're passionate about. How do you think that dentists can protect their mental health while still maintaining an active social media presence?
Well, I think the way in which you phrase that question is quite interesting, in that created an image is the way that you defined it. And I think that's actually the opposite of what I would recommend for dentists. I think if they can be true to who they are and be true to their own values, both as a person and as a clinician, then that's where they will find the most happiness in social media. Because the moment you start to try to imitate or recreate the style of presentation that someone else has on their social media, that may not necessarily be who you are as an individual, is the moment that firstly you have that will create tension in your own life, but also you won't resonate as truly and as effectively as you could do with your potential patients. And one thing that I love about social media, even now I still get so many patients through social media, even though I'm significantly less active than I once was, is that the patients that come to see me, because of the style of work that I do, being a very sort of natural aesthetic, and because of the way I guess I've sort of portrayed myself online, I tend to get the sort of patients who are very aligned with who I am and the sort of dentistry that I do. I don't get people coming asking for sort of really artificial looking, bright white dentistry. It's more, I want a natural improvement of myself. I want something that people won't necessarily know that I've had my teeth done. They just want to think, I want them to think that I just have a naturally beautiful smile. And so from that point of view, because throughout my career, that's the style of dentistry I put out there, and that's what I've talked about, and that's what I'm passionate about. And that's what I truly believe is, for me, the best type of dentistry. That resonates, I think, with that type of consumer. And so it all flows in a much more positive way. And that also allows you to create, no one is better at being you than you. And I'm not better. That you might think that I've got a great profile, but I'm not going to be better than you at being you. And so if you really focus in on those pieces that you're passionate about, that passion will shine through. And I think that's where you'll resonate and you'll see success on social media.
So another thing you alluded to earlier was this kind of trend for turkey teeth. And it's true that we've seen a huge increase in the number of UK patients travelling abroad for cosmetic dental treatments. So as someone passionate about ethical cosmetic dentistry, what's your take on this increase in dental tourism?
Well, I think it's very difficult for the consumer. I mean, they are being sold the dream through very creative and well-targeted social media adverts, as well as various influencers who they look up to. It tends to be the younger end of the demographic who are unfortunately falling for this, which is devastating for us as clinicians to see 18 to 25-year-old, well, anyone at any age, but especially these really young guys and girls going to Turkey, having their teeth prepped for 32 zirconia crowns. When really, if they needed any cosmetic dentistry at all, they needed a bit of whitening, maybe some bonding, which would have been much more maintainable in the long run. But I can understand it, because they're being sold something by people they trust. The influencers who are having the work done probably don't understand what they're getting themselves in for either. And it seems very alluring to go on a nice holiday to Turkey, come back with beautiful white teeth, beautiful obviously in inverted commas in many cases, and pay a fraction of the price, probably a tenth of the price that they'd be paying in the UK. But as we all know within the profession, what they're actually committing themselves to is a lifetime of dentistry, much more cost in the long run because the maintenance and the quality of the provision of this dentistry is oftentimes not very good. And it's a real shame, and it's something that we're all at the BACD really passionate about. Our vice president Sam Jethwar has been on ITV talking about turkey teeth and trying to bring attention to how things should be done, especially when using ceramics. And actually, you can achieve, with good care, you can achieve beautiful outcomes with little to no preparation if you've had the right training. And with modern techniques and modern ceramics, you really can achieve very, very beautiful outcomes with minimally invasive approaches, but you had to have the right training and you have to care biologically about what you're providing. And I think that's the really key thing that we're very passionate about.
And you're also the co-founder of Parla plastic-free toothpaste tabs. So how much of an issue is plastic waste in dentistry, and what can dentists do to help make the industry more sustainable?
Yeah, absolutely. So we created Parla with one thing in mind, really, that every tube of toothpaste you've ever used still exists somewhere on the planet. There's 20 billion of them going into landfill in the ocean each year. And obviously that single-use plastic is making its way into our oceans, into our ecosystem, our food system. And unfortunately, if you look at the more modern research, getting into most of our bloodstreams and even into our breast milk that we're passing on to the next generation directly. So that is something that really shocked me as a young father. And that's the reason we created Parla. Parla is designed by dentists to be good for you and the planet. It is 100% plastic free. All of our packaging is either refillable, compostable, or infinitely recyclable. And so it is a truly zero waste solution. And we're very, very proud of where we've got to with it. Obviously, we were on Dragon's Den, and we're now stocked around the country in all the major premium supermarkets and pharmacies. But this is a problem that I think goes much, much deeper into dentistry as a whole. Toothpaste tubes was the area that we could see and oral care products in general that we could see has the biggest impact to the general public. But even within our localities as small businesses, if you add up all of our locations across the UK simply as dental practices, we create a huge amount of waste. Obviously, an element of that we're unable to change because we're guided by the CQC and HTMO 105 as to how we have to manage various elements of our packaging and waste with regards to a cross-infection control point of view. But there are changes that you can make, and it's really great now to see the dental distributors, a lot of them anyway, now start to look at ways they can reduce the packaging they're sending you the items in, look at alternative materials, whether that be using bamboo spit cups instead of using plastic ones, or using autoclavable 3-in-1 tips instead of using single-use plastic ones. Or even compostable micro brushes. There's a lot of changes, simple, small changes that you can make. And the more of us that make them, the more the prices of these items will be driven down because the volumes that the distributors are able to buy goes up. And so it takes all of us, I think, to have people within the practice, and certainly I have a sustainability lead within my own practice, who sort of balances the books on, okay, this is slightly more expensive, but it's significantly more sustainable. Does it fit in with HTMO 105? Yes, it does. Okay, let's make that decision. And if you employ a team member, one of your existing team, it doesn't need to be their only role, but employ a team member who is going to be your sustainability lead for the practice. That's a really great way that you can drive your business to not only provide the best quality of dentistry, but do it in the most sustainable manner. Little things like having bike blocks outside your practices, trying to encourage your team to carpool into the practice together, look at your stock levels so that you're not throwing away dead stock that's gone out of date. nothing worse than that for the environment, to have a product manufactured, shipped to you. You've spent the money on it, which is not good for your business either, and then you throw it in the bin. So there's lots of ways that you can improve the sustainability of your practices. And obviously, from our point of view as Parlour, we stock directly into dental practices currently through Wrights Cottrell, if dentists want to be able to provide Parlour to their patients in their clinics to offer a plastic-free oral care solution, then obviously they can do that as well, which is what we're all about at Parlour.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And then looking ahead to the Dentistry show in May, you'll be discussing 5 principal growth areas that you believe will play a key part in the future of dentistry. Can you give us a sneak preview of what these 5 growth areas are?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but it's basically I've defined it as the ABCDE of the future of dentistry, and I think all of those stand for an individual area where I can see a real growth over the next 5 to 10 years. I think it's an incredibly exciting time to be in dentistry. The rapid development of technology and AI is meaning that things are moving at a lightning pace. And it's quite difficult, I think, as dentists, where obviously we're trained in a certain way. We try and keep up to date with our postgraduate education, but because things are moving so rapidly, and it's a commercial environment where commercial entities are creating things that we want to see the evidence base first, and it's a very interesting time, but it's a very exciting time, and I want really the delegates that come to this talk to come away with actionable areas that they can implement cutting edge dentistry into their practice. And that doesn't necessarily mean huge capital expenses on expensive bits of equipment. It's very much conceptual as well as technological. It's very much biological as well as digital. And it's really just looking at things with a little bit of a broader lens, so that you can see what the future is going to hold for dentistry. And hopefully it'll be very, very positive for not only the outcomes they're achieving for their patients, but also for them as individuals and as business owners, to sort of be on the leading cutting edge of what our patients and our consumers are actually after. So I'm really excited about it. It's a brand new lecture that I'm launching this year. It's really an accumulation of various areas of passion that I have in dentistry, and I think that the delegates are going to be in for a real treat. It should be good fun. I think I'm on at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, so hopefully people haven't been partying too much on the Friday night, and we'll have a nice big audience there.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be great. And finally, apart from your own speaking session, what else are you looking forward to about attending the British Dental Conference and Dentistry show this year?
Well, I mean, for me, of the trade shows, it's the one that I always look forward to. It's great. The BACD area that we have with the big lounge out the front, and the speakers that are in the theatre, other than myself, are fantastic. It's always a sellout. It's always standing room only, and it's really unique in that way. I think that it still has that pull. And for me, I just love networking. I mean, I think we all post-pandemic just missed that in-person opportunity to chat and to network. And I mean, networking is a bit of a sterile term, but just to chat with friends and other industry professionals. And I was on a podcast recently. We were talking about something that we talked about at the Dentistry show before. And obviously Parlour's going to have a stand there alongside our friends from Enlighten. So I'm looking forward to talking to more dentists and hygienists and dental care professionals about Parlour. So yeah, it's always great fun. I look forward to it every year, and I think this year is going to be a really, really enjoyable one.
Brilliant. Well, Simon, thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you at the British Dental Conference and Dentistry show in May.
Look forward to seeing you there.